Yo, are y'all in for a nice episode today? We get into the PS5 looking like a router and all the announcements that came with it. Then we also talk about AMC first saying no mask and then mask. And then we're also going to talk about iMax documentaries on Hulu. But then we're going to do a little bit of AMD, Intel, and also talk about what does a barbecue mean to you. If you ask Intel, they like to barbecue their stuff too. More of that. Stay tuned. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of That's the Lifestyle Podcast. And I am your host, Snow, today.
My name is Ramon.
And it's the motherfucking God.
What happened to the name change, son? Where's the name change?
I don't know, man.
To be determined. It got postponed.
Yeah. My partner that I work with, he was like, yo, every partner I work with, they get a nickname. You always say you can't give yourself a nickname. Somebody got to give you a nickname. So it's like yo, you chit chat because you always chit chatting with somebody. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't know how it'll go over on Instagram, but
that's funny.
Whatever. But as it stands, I'll remain the Kicks God until there's a better sneaker related name for me. So, but
all right.
How y'all been doing? You know, we back at it like a motherfucking crack at it.
Chilling, man.
You know, with everything going on in the world and everything trying to taper off, coming to some bit of or some semblance of normalcy. Just when we think everything was good. And then you have the gentleman in Atlanta, Georgia. I don't know. I don't know how to think about that one. What say you guys? Real quick. Real quick. Real quick.
I mean, we in it, so there's no time to think. We're just gonna make change. That's it.
For sure.
I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
For sure. You know what I'm saying?
We had a time where, we can't sit there and just bask in it because we already were going off one flow, one wave, one energy, and
right on.
So they adding I think I saw a number 120 since George Floyd. So it's like, all right, we'll I guess we'll be doing this the whole summer then, So
yeah, it's definitely looking like that. I think something just to briefly touch on, like I was looking at that. I felt I was very mixed, but I was probably more. I was more balanced than I'd say anything else. One thing that I noticed that one of the protest points is the defunding of the NYPD. So the NYPD funding is like about $6 billion. That is what they have available now, and that is what what their target funding is from whomever, regardless. That is their target number. What do you guys think about that? Like,
I don't know enough about it.
I don't know enough about it, but here's what I'm gonna say, and I know. This is probably gonna rupture the wrong people or rub people the wrong way. But if they need a $6 billion to keep this city, one of the most targeted cities in USA, safe, then it is what it is. Now, if someone's doing some numbers on it and realize like, oh, at the end of this term they got this much left over, and then there's this much left over, and blah blah blah. Maybe they only need 5. Maybe they only need 4.
Right.
Then, it is what it is. I'm not really for, like, if someone was to sit there and we were sitting in the room like, well, one way we're gonna do it is defund police, and it's like, wait a minute, do y'all forget that we're always being attacked? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I don't mean like us as black people. I'm like, our city is always under attack. There's
Absolutely.
there's so much that happens under the wing, and we all just go through with just normal, like it's normal, you know? These things cost a lot of money, I'm sure. I don't know what the dollar amount. I'm not educated enough to even know that. I'm not in the ballpark to know, nor do I care to know. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't want to do anything that's going to make them protecting this city questionable. And I don't want some dude on that force be like, well, yeah, we needed those 30,000, condoms because, like, nah, because I know how that goes too. You know what I mean? People like to inflate the books. Not the police per se. I've actually never heard of that with the police. I've heard that with hospitals and shit. But, like, I'm sure there's a little bit of that everywhere. And, like I said, if the money can be spared because if they had surplus in some other years or whatever, then okay, cool. Let's put it to where it needs to go to. Let's make sure it goes to where it needs to go to.
Right.
Other than that, don't touch the money. Just leave it alone.
Yeah. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. What I feel is like already when you start talking about a dollar amount allocated to a police department. So people really don't understand. There's not just $6 billion sitting in an account going towards just sitting there. It's money there that it's like, okay, yeah, that's $6 million. And then there is, let's say, $2 million allocated to, vehicles in operation. There's 1.5 allocated to community affairs.
Anybody listening to us understand how that works. We're just talking about in general, like even in the companies I work for, like without saying specific companies, like we've had wild budgets.
Right.
And at the end of the year, when we're trying to like close those numbers, it's like, hey, you guys that was in this department, y'all gotta chill out. You guys that was in this, y'all gotta get rid of that money because we gotta give it back. You got like it's one of, so like we all have a working knowledge of that.
Right. But what they're trying to say, they're trying to stop any further funding to NYPD. And I think that can be dangerous, but I understand the want or the idea of reallocating funding from the NYPD into communities, into schooling. Into
there was something I saw that wasn't. It said that it wasn't stopping further funding. It was just really just pulling from whatever their yearly amount was.
Yeah.
So it's not like, well, y'all had $6 billion in the year 2020, and then next year y'all get zero or half that. It was really just like it was just really just like we just gotta, y'all probably not, like, again, they probably not using all that six. You get what I'm saying? So let's just offload it somewhere so that way it's just not going to waste.
Right. Yep. It's like you guys will continue to get $6 billion, but we're now going to pull from the $6 billion to go over here for something very specific towards the cause.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not really that knowledgeable on that kind of stuff. So
okay.
To me, I hear it. I just want them to be able to do their job safely, comfortable, keep our city safe. And on top of or under all that, let's just end police brutality.
Yeah, yeah,
because that's the major part.
And that starts from training, integration of civilian personnel with police personnel. A lot more communication. There's that. Like I was speaking to somebody yesterday about that, and I felt like that's going to take some time, but it can happen and it will happen because it's happening in my department. A lot of integration of civilian personnel because they feel like, people feel like we pretty much just we're 80% African American making this much money, and that can't be. So let's get individuals in there to figure out why is it that they're making so much money and try and quell that number, and offset overtime and offset this. So, I'm fully aware of what the idea is, but moving right along. Go, Snow.
As I said, these protests, it's probably going to go through the whole summer. But
yep,
what does a barbecue day mean to you? Like, you're going to a backyard, a park, an event, hosting. Like, what is that? Like, what is that? What does it mean to you? Does that signify summer to you? Does that let you know, like, yo, the summer officially started when you get invited to that first barbecue? When you're hosting the people over, like, what does it mean to you? I'll start with RZA.
I guess I could. So the first thing I'll say, the homies Dakai and Mitch, we've been doing like these Friday happy hours ever since like Corona kind of happened. And one of the things we've been doing is dudes will come up with a playlist idea, and it's about 8 to 10 people, and everybody's got to submit 5 songs. And then when we get on the happy hour joint, you vote for the songs. So one of the playlists was a barbecue playlist. That's when I started to realize how varied the idea of a barbecue is to somebody just based on the music alone. Because you was hearing some wild shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you would hear things that you would assume is there. Like what's that old? Hey,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
that shit.
A few people submitted that, and then you'll hear like some reggae shit, or you'll hear some old school house shit. So it was kind of like, wow, everybody's got a different vibe that they expect.
And that's me, by the way, with that music.
So that was cool. But I mean, for me, the barbecue is less about the music, more about the company. Just don't invite me to no veggie barbecue shit, and I'll be there.
Why not, sir? Why not?
Son, vegetables belong in the ground, not on my plate. Certainly not on my grill. Yeah. But I just good food, good people.
For sure.
Out and about, a nice breeze, a cigar, a drink. And I'm fit to be there for hours. That's really, and I feel like as I've gotten older, the idea of a barbecue is really interchangeable with hanging out.
Right.
And you could swap it, we could just be doing what we're doing without a barbecue grill, or it could be a barbecue. It's not like an event for me anymore. But yeah, I need a cool space, some shit to look at, some trees, some breeze, a cigar, and a drink.
Yeah.
Kind of boring, but that's me.
Yeah.
How about you, Tawann?
What does barbecue day mean to you? What a barbecue day means. All right. Oh, well, it my family and I, we come from a long history of barbecues, and everybody thinks they're the master griller. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't my uncle, it was my father. If it wasn't my father, it was my grandfather. If it wasn't my grandfather, it was my uncle. My other uncle. When it's first and foremost family, and that would include close friends. Like I don't differentiate between close friends and family. That to me is they're all family. You know what I'm saying? Ramon is family. You, Snow, your family. And other people that I consider close to me are family. So then friends, like, who may not be always around. I might not always speak to them, but God damn it, I'm getting them on the phone and letting them know,
right?
Yo, it's barbecue time. Pull up. So that in essence is what barbecue day means to me. Now, it also means, because I think before I go there, barbecue day can be any day. You know what I'm saying? Like, Snow, I know you barbecue in the winter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if I was able to barbecue in the winter, which soon come, I will most certainly be barbecuing in the winter, snow on the ground. Not you, Snow. Real snow on the ground. And I'm barbecuing away. However, it's the combination of warm weather, the smell of charcoal burning. Like, I can't really I can, but I'm more partial to charcoal burning than gas burners. So the smell of gas burners, Heckscher State Park. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to Heckscher State Park, you're doing one of two things. You're going swimming or you're barbecuing.
Right.
All right. That is that simple. And you know, just chilling out, like Ramon said, smoking a stick and having a sip, and like that has seemingly become more incorporated into this year for me, and that's getting a stick off and a nice sip, because these acid cigars are melting through my pocket and I need to get them off. So yeah. But and that's what I think it is for me. That's what I think, you know.
Yeah. So Ramon, that song was "Gotta Give It Up" by Marvin Gaye.
Yes.
Sampled by Robin Thicke later.
And then sued Robin Thicke by the Marvin Gaye estate and won.
I like
vigorously. Yeah.
So for me, barbecue day is definitely a summer thing. And as many of those things that both of you have said, it's the music, it's waking up early in the morning, going to Heckscher State Park, or it's doing those last minute preparations. It's about family, friends, music, food, old stories, uniting the cousins, the baby cousins with their toddlers, with their soon to be teens. It's that, you know, it's a family reunion in some sort. It's the everybody pull up, show out. We're gonna have a good time, some new memories to talk about all year, even if you only get one barbecue in for the summer, which has happened. You know what I mean? Like, it's that you're gonna talk about that. You're gonna ride that high all the way to the next year. So as soon as August or September hits, when it's back to school in the North, we go back to school in September. You know, you're gonna be like, man, I can't wait till next, whether it was June, whether it was July. You know what I'm saying? For some people, the barbecue day is also block party day. You know what I mean? Because that's the only time that they get a chance to do it. Like, if you live in the how I grew up, you know, for the most part, that was like your one time to barbecue on premise. You get what I'm saying? Where everyone's doing it, so it's not a big deal. But we're all having, again, music, food, the whole performance at mines, you know, all that. So it's a dope thing. And recently, I've finally became like a legitimate host. I did my first hosting, I think that was last year. And you know, it's so dope, and I wish that I had access to everybody that ever invited me to a barbecue, because, you know what I mean, they've had to carry that load for so long. And I know it takes a lot. It takes a lot just throwing a house party for a Super Bowl Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, that takes a lot. So having to deal with something that you outside, you inside, you making sure everybody good, your phone constantly ringing because you gave them perfect instructions on how to get to the crib, but yet they still want to call you
all the time.
So it's all that. It's a real good thing.
Yep. You know what? I want to throw one in. Tailgate parties, which is kind of sort of like, depending on who decides to go all the way out. It's a barbecue as well. You got somebody that got a couple of people on a grill over here and on behind their car, on a grill over there behind their SUV, on a grill over there behind their van. You got so many. You have so many grills, and then you have the alcohol man over there on the side. You got a couple of alcohol people, and they're not saying, "Hey, this costs $10 for this nutcracker." No, you want a nutcracker? Here. In fact, have two. Don't worry, I got my homie about to pull up in 2 minutes with the re-up.
Yeah.
So, like, I really, like, I'm hugely partial to tailgate parties.
Yeah, tailgate culture is probably, if you know, you know. And I feel like if you, this is weird. This is just my personal feeling. If you are black, live in a city environment like New York City,
right,
and you don't live in a place where you driving everywhere or you going to these type of events, you don't know about it. You see it, you don't know what it is, and you like, okay, they just hanging out in the parking lot before the big game, whatever it is, because it's not always actually to the event, because it's not always a sporting event. Sometimes it's concerts.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you don't know, you don't know. You get what I'm saying? And my first exposure to it was I was an adult, a straight up adult, because at the time that I went to a football game, when we showed up, it was time to go in. You get what I'm saying? Like, we wasn't in the parking lot. And my first experience in it was actually at a concert.
Right.
And of course, it wasn't any one of our concerts. It was at, I believe, a Kenny Chesney concert. And I was out there, I was taking photos, and just seeing that they got the games going on out there, hack and sack, the toss, the pie hole, all kinds of stuff that was just going on. I'm just like, yo, this is insane. So I wish it was something that we could do more of, because in this city we're spoiled, right? When we go to the Garden, what parking lot?
Right.
When we go to the Barclays now, what parking lot? And then most of us, if we're going to the football game, we're riding in on the Iron Horse, or we again pulling up right when the game is about to start. So we ain't out there. If the game is a 12:00 game or a 1:00 game, football game, those dudes are out there as soon as they can get in. Hey, somebody's AC is going crazy.
Yeah, I don't think that one is mine, because I can hear it too.
I don't have anything on my curve.
Yeah, it's going wild.
Hold on.
You still hear it?
Yeah, I think that's you, RZA. I don't hear it now.
Yeah, I just muted it. You still hear it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like it's picking it up more.
Oh.
Yeah. That shit sound like an airline right now.
It really does. It sounds like an airport.
Hang on, let me drop out, come back in. Keep recording. Hang on.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Any better?
A little better. I can still hear it faintly. It's better than it's
okay.
Yeah, much better.
All right. Good.
All right. So I'm just gonna just break into the next thing. Is for the Intel for you, RZA.
We want a time market with the count in?
Nah, it's all good. I'll figure it out.
All right.
So, yeah, tailgating is a thing. I think if you've never experienced it, find your way into a tailgate party wherever you can.
For sure.
It's definitely an experience. So, Ramon, I defer to you for this one. There's a lot of AMD Intel things going on. I'm hearing that AMD is finally stepping into the back pocket of Intel and is trying to root them from the inside out. I have not been paying attention to the graphics cards and the chips as of late, so I was wondering if you could shed some light on that.
Shit, I deferred my damn self to somebody else because this shit is deep.
Real deep.
Yeah.
So just give us the top level then. What's going on?
So let me lay. I am no way, shape, or form a professional when it comes to this shit. So and I've been in IT profession for I don't know what 18, 19 years, or whatever the fuck it is at this point.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And machine language has always been fucking Spanish to me.
Right. Same here.
So I've never really like gotten into like processes and the architect of and how they work and blah blah blah. Like I don't give a shit.
Right.
What I do know is I've always been Intel.
Mm-hmm.
And Intel has always stood for the age old analogy, you get what you pay for.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Because the AMD, they've always played that budget line. They've always played that more for less type of thing, except it hardly pans out by and large. They had a stint back in like the 2003s, maybe like the 2000s, somewhere around there, that they were good, and then they just disappeared. And Intel kept rocking, and then people started to accuse Intel of because you ain't got no competition, you out here selling this garbage. And there's a case for that they weren't progressing as much as they could. And then all of a sudden, here comes AMD in the last like 2 or 3 years with these 7-nanometer processors, right, and they're cleaning up. And what's interesting about it is there's a lot of speculation that Intel can't do 7-nanometer processors, and that's why they're starting to lower the price on their current offerings and blah blah blah. At the end of the day, what I see is AMD processors are in today's world, I'm talking the last year or so, they're worth the price, and you do get great performance for the price.
Right.
Okay.
However, there are some things, like I was watching a Linus video a few weeks back where I think they were overclocking the processor, some stupid shit, an Intel processor. And something it did, it was wild stable throughout the clock. And they was like, hang on, this don't make much sense. And the Anthony, who I quite like on Linus' channel, he was like, no, just because Intel isn't the hashtag these days, don't mean that they're not top-notch engineering. So when people look to compare AMD versus Intel, they're looking at these like nominal numbers of benchmarks and performance gains. But Intel's got like a ton of safety features that's built in to their processors that ensures longevity, that ensures you can push it harder. So Intel is very much still in the game. Like there's no dispute in that. And now I think literally last night I was watching a video where Intel released they previewed a new processor with the onboard graphics card because they just can't leave that shit alone. There was a laptop playing Battlefield 5 at like fucking 60 frames a second from the processor.
Right.
So everyone's kind of looking like, wait, who did this? This is Intel? Like, of course this was Intel. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what did you think? They left the building? Like, no, you just got obsessed with a new shiny thing. But like, Intel's gonna return. So I'm not the most qualified to speak on the Intel versus AMD. Today, if I had to build a rig, I would probably go AMD because of my particular workflow. My particular workflow is applications like Photoshop and video editing. Right. And AMD's processors are heavy favored toward that side.
Okay.
So you will get, and since, for instance, the processor that I have now, I think it's a 299 architecture. So it's kind of what AMD was aiming for. I've got the same cores, same clock speeds, but I can push it much farther. But it was like I think a good $200 or $300 more expensive than what the AMD offering today would be. It's hard to not consider that when you're building like a budget machine. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When somebody comes to you and says, I only got $1,500 to spend, you got to think about that. That's a very real thing. But I think Intel is still banging. AMD obviously just caught up, and good for them because they're also banging. But I can't help but think Intel is just waiting to drop the fucking bomb. And this has been the history curve. Everyone's obsessed. Oh, nice. AMD's doing it. It's cheaper until Intel comes out, hits them in the back of the head, and then AMD just can't compete for the next 10 years. And it, you look at things like the consoles. Me personally, and I haven't seen any numbers, I haven't seen any studies, but I'm willing to say that the consoles, both Xbox, PlayStation, kept AMD alive.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
It wasn't a performance thing. It was that budget price because Microsoft and Sony had to say, fam, we can't afford for these things to cost over a certain amount. And if they went with Intel, we would definitely be bridging that gap. We'd be pushing over that. Mm-hmm. So AMD has their place, but ultimately, I'm always going to be an Intel dude because I think Intel is just you always have a dominant something in a genre, and I think people are just tired of seeing Intel dominate, but that doesn't mean they don't deserve to dominate, right? And then this conversation's been, I've been trying to be a lot more balanced in my approach to things in life. Of course, that comes after Corona, and now the recent protests and whatnot. So this whole year has been like time to slow down and reflect. And what I'm coming up against is I'm trying to let go of my biases and my fanboy behavior. Not that anything's wrong with it, but like, there's passionate people that works at AMD as well that fucking love this shit.
Right. Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? And there's passionate people that work at Intel that love this shit. But they end up on products on opposite sides, and they have their strengths and minuses. And I don't want to be in that world anymore where which one's better than the other. Right. Like, man, well, at the end of the day, what's it all worth? What's it all? You got to pick the PlayStation. You got to pick the Xbox. Does that mean you can't enjoy the Nintendo? Like, I'm starting to really dial back on a lot of like absolutes when it comes to things like this.
Yeah, I was just telling Tawann about how I could have sold any console that I own. You know what I'm saying? There's like one or two things over there. Like, forget about the line for a second. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just stuff everywhere. Yeah. And I feel the same way about AMDs. I just, when I built my machine for the first time, I went with what I loved, which was Intel.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if I had to go build another one today from scratch, I would reconsider AMD. You know what I mean? I would. But that also, with me, I'm kind of weird that way. Like, if I'm going to get the AMD processor, I'm going to get that AMD card as well. I figured they're going to play nice.
You don't want to do that.
I know I don't want to do that. I already heard, but like, that's how I like to play ball. If I'm gonna play ball, let me play ball all the way.
But there's a part of this narrative that should not be forgotten. It's AMD has a long history of not delivering. This is the first time in God knows how long, almost 20 years, that they actually delivered.
Yeah.
People love to forget the last generation of AMD products. And I'm talking the chips that came out 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
They forget. Like, fam, why wasn't you talking this shit? Now AMD stock is going crazy. Like, they did it.
Ryzen.
They finally did it.
AMD stock is rising.
That's not enough. You know what I mean?
That double entendre.
Versus somebody like Intel, fam, you don't go wrong. You don't go wrong. You wanna talk about what going wrong for Intel looks like? you seen some new shiny shit over there, and now you're looking at Intel like, where is it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That doesn't qualify them or disqualify them. That's not fair. You know, so I don't know. I'm still partial to Intel for sure, fam, because I'm the kind of guy where I like a peace of mind with specific things. I'm all for experimenting and doing the hobbyist things, but when it comes to my rig, fam, ain't no room for none of that. Ain't no wiggle room, because I turn this bitch on and I need it to come on every time.
Yep.
Thinking about building the AMD system, it kind of gives me some anxiety, because I have dealt with AMD in the past and it's been fucking trash. You know what I mean? And
like
yes,
my Dell.
Everyone else is saying today, nah, they got it. But y'all know that conversation I always have. Everyone tells me something is until I sit down and start doing it, and then I start to realize, oh, there's this caveat, there's that caveat. Like, why the fuck you didn't tell me this?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that, I don't feel like dealing with that with specific things. Not my rig.
Right.
So
that sounds like PUBG all over again.
Exactly.
So all right, so that's that. Intel, NVIDIA all day on this side. If we're picking sides,
yeah, with it.
So I want to move this over as New York City and most of the U.S. is starting to reopen, and people are forgetting that it's not about we got this health thing under control. It's a money situation. AMC came out, or it was discovered that AMC was not requiring masks, and up until about 15 hours ago, when everybody heard them, was like, what? They reversed that.
Did theaters reopen with phase 2?
They're looking into it. They're looking into reopening. Some of them have to reopen. So this was the big conversation. Like, what do you mean no masks for your, like, how do you plan on getting people in? Like, what was your distancing protocol? And on top of that, right? Even if you do have masks, how you handling the popcorn and the drinking situation? Right? Because humans are stupid. They will take the mask off to eat the popcorn and then yell things at the screen, or they'll lean over to somebody on their left or right, or, you know what I mean? Like how were they going to handle that? And before they reversed it, I was just wondering, like, what was you guys' opinion or take on that? Like, were y'all going to go to a movie theater? Were y'all considering doing that if they had a straight plan? Like, what would you think? What was you guys' thoughts?
Let the Jedi Master weigh in on that.
All right. So theaters, not just AMC. You talking every theater. You talking across the gamut. You talking United Artists. All of them are in a pickle right now. So, because the concession stand makes up for a huge chunk of their money. In fact, I might be able to go out on a limb and say the concession stand holds a higher value to a movie theater than the actual movie.
It does.
So,
I mean, even with sports games, right?
Right.
It's the concession stands.
So, how does a theater that has now fell under what every other business in America has fallen under, and that is this pandemic / coronavirus / situation that's going on? How do they say, okay, well, we're not going to require masks? Because if, like you said, if you're going to order anything from a concession stand, the easiest thing to consume would be a drink, because you just simply slide it down, slide it up, take your sip or what have you. But I'm not taking that mask down from my face and popping a pretzel ball with cheese into my mouth. Like it's those minute things that become really, 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 really big things when you understand the volume that they make every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then you got a work week, and then you wash, rinse, repeat Thursday, Friday, and in the summertime, even Wednesday. So, how do we make money if everyone is wearing a mask? However, so they say no mask, and now you jump into, okay, they have to reverse this one because there's a health threat. And it's like, how do you get past a stumbling block that can really cripple your business?
I don't see them getting past this.
I am in agreement with you. I don't see them getting past this. And what that says to the person, the consumer now, fuck that. I'm not going to the movie theater wearing a mask and consuming concession stand food.
Mm-hmm.
It's not happening. Me personally, even though I'm not a big concession stand, like I'll have some periodically if I'm really, really, like I didn't eat anything for the day and I think I just want a little something. Okay, I'll go to the concession stand. But generally, my wife and I, we don't usually go to the concession stand, so it's not a big deal for me. But for other people with kids, you know how you keep your kids still? Give them something to eat. And how to shut them up? Give them something to eat. Like, so that becomes a problem when the new Smurf movie or the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie or Mulan comes out. How do you keep your kids silent and not fidgety? You give them food, but now you can't give them food because they're supposed to be masked up. That's a problem. It's a huge problem, and I don't see a fix for it.
I'm wild triggered right now.
Yeah.
You said kids in movie theaters. Fuck people who bring their kids to the movie theaters.
I agree.
Even to a kid movie?
You know what? Take them to Mulan or Frozen 10 or whatever the fuck. There's no reason I'm in here watching John Wick.
An R-rated movie.
10 motherfuckers, and I got a kid behind me behaving like an ass. Like, this is not appropriate.
I agree.
Sound like if I had the number to if I knew ACS would show up like cops do when you say a black man, so I swear to God, I'd be calling fucking ACS and all these people.
For sure.
But there's a few things that's happening here. One, I always thought the price of food in movie theaters were astronomical, and I'm never willing to. Son, very rarely do you guys see me flex my muscle as a consumer.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, we've all here been privileged enough to afford what we want.
Right.
But, son, this shit is just ridiculous. $12 for pop. Like, what in the fuck?
$4 for a Dasani order.
Like, it's like insulting, right? And I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear your problems that you're passing on to the fucking consumer. Nah, I'm not with that. So that's always been appalling to me. Secondly, I'm curious to see how this pans out with a lot of these big budget movies. They should be coming direct to my household. Fuck that.
I think that's what it's turning into.
It's the most responsible thing as a society to do right now, because it continues to promote the social distancing. You're in your own home. You're not in a theater with 100 other people or however many people's in a theater. Two, it's the most profitable for the studios who makes these movies and everything behind that. So you essentially cut out the middleman. And I understand that old people when they retire go to work at the movie theater because they ain't got shit to do. I get it.
Right.
I understand that the kids need summer jobs. Whatever, motherfucker. McDonald's and Burger King never stop banging. You can find ways to make that $12 an hour. And then also like everything around the movie theater, like that whole, the movie starts at 9, except it doesn't start until 9:20 because I gotta sit here and watch 20 minutes of fucking trailers I don't care about because they need to find a different way to pad their pockets or to
Also,
make up the march. Like it's just going to the movies is fucking annoying, son.
Yeah, but let me just, so the trailer thing, that is also paid for by the movie producers, the production houses, and that goes into theaters as well. The coming attractions, all of that stuff, that's for AMC, and so they make their money from trailers and concession.
I'm not fucking with it. And at the end of the day, the experience for me as a consumer fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And I would much rather be at home. Like, I'm not against yo, Tawann, what you trying to do? That Star Wars movie coming out next week. I'm at your crib or you at mine. How we doing this? And there's the money that we would spend for popcorn and Dasani water. When we spend that same money at home, son, we're eating great.
Dasani and popcorn
for less. We can order some Chinese food. We could order some pizza. We could order some sushi, and damn near spend the same fucking money.
And with these new hue lights, I can make it look like a theater anyway.
That's you understand what I mean? So like, yo,
straight up.
The movie experience just went to shit, and there's so many things that contribute to that. I'm not saying I know everything, but what I do know is the experience fucking sucks. On top of the fact that every time I go, I feel the urge to slap the shit out of somebody because they're just
every time.
They're not considerate. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be around that shit, man.
And now they've made it so you can't even change your fucking seat.
Right.
It's like you have to sit next to the jackass, and he is not going to keep quiet.
Do you remember last time we saw Star Wars, how triggered I was? Because we had the lady, we got to our seat, the lady next to us, she had, I don't know, like 3 or 4 kids with her.
Yep.
And I'm already on edge because, man, listen to me. I'm a lover of humanity. And I feel like anyone who knows me will vouch for that. But fuck you and your kids. You understand? You have to deal with your bad behaved kids. I don't. I fucking don't. And I grew up in a world where, like, I don't get to act the ass out in public. You get a backhand real quick. And it annoys me that people's kids are out here doing the worst and they just sitting there like nothing's happening. Like, all right, well, I can't slap the kid, but guess who I can slap? You. You know what I mean? And then another group of people comes in and they went right behind us. And the people behind it, they're like, yo, you're in our seat. The people behind us are like, the fuck are you talking about? Let me see your ticket. Dude pulls out the ticket. His seat is actually right next to me, where this lady with her 3 kids is. But, so now he's like, miss, you're in my seat. And she's like, really? What? Huh? I was just like, bitch, get up.
But you knew that you were in the wrong seats when you sat your stupid ass down.
Right. So now she gets up and she goes further. She's looking around and she's like, yo, you are stealing. And let's put this clear, white lady, because black people don't have the balls to do this type of shit because we're tired of being in handcuffs. But here she comes, and then halfway through the movie, what's she doing? She's standing up with her kids, and they getting ready to leave because the kids didn't like the movie, so now we're distracted. Like, fucking come on with this dumb shit. I don't want any part of this. I don't want any part of this. I would rather stay in my house, set my mood, and enjoy literally enjoy the movie.
Yeah,
I hear you. I still enjoy going to the theaters when I can, and if for those moments that you're saying can happen, has happened. What my most favorite thing is, especially when you're rolling with a group of people, right, is the movie theater means the world has stopped. Unless someone is ringing your phone 50 damn times in a row. Then
my shit's off.
Then you know, there's some shit waiting for you on the other side of that phone. You take your ass outside, you take that call. But like, you ever tried to get more than yourself to sit in front of a TV to watch a movie? It's like, hold on, let me go use the bathroom. Hold on, let me put this on. Hold on, let me turn this off. Hold on, let me do this. Hold on. That's your 20 minutes of advertisement right there.
I haven't tried, so
I've had that problem a few times, especially when it's more kids are worse at home with that, because they expect certain things. It's like you hear because of the COVID stuff, how many parents are like, oh my God, I got more respect for teachers now. Like, first off, these are your kids.
Yeah,
like,
they're saying they're talking about
saying that. Yeah, these are your kids, by the way. Like, you had these kids, you sent them out.
Yeah, parenting.
And what's been happening is a lot of people have been experiencing how hard it is to get settled for dinner, movie, this, that, you know what I'm saying, like that kind of stuff.
Right.
And they might have had settlement problems before with dinner, but like trying to get them in a movie theater, at least kids understand that they're in a fucking movie theater. So they kind of, even though they could still be loud and obnoxious, they kind of tone it down because it's dark and there's a whole bunch of other people here. And so they're forced to play. I've seen kids, on not COVID related, we're supposed to be sitting there, you watching, what was it, Monsters Inc. and Shrek was another time. And the kid asked and requested a movie. Actually, another one with Cars. They asked and requested a movie. And they are watching the movie, but they got this toy in their hand, they laying, they turn their back to the kid. Like, they doing all kinds of stuff. And I found that it's not exclusive to the kids. I've had movie dates in-house, not Netflix and chill, back in the days. Mm-hmm. And it's like, hey, put your fucking phone down. You wouldn't do it if we was at the theater. You know what I mean? Like,
yo, for sure.
That would trigger me like a motherfucker, son.
You requested to watch this fucking movie. You're not paying attention. It's one thing if you fall asleep, right? Because I have a cousin. Actually, I have a nephew, because he's even better to talk about. I have a nephew that I'm a few years older than, and I hate taking this motherfucker to the theater. Whether he's paying for himself or I'm paying for him, I hate taking him to the movie theater because he almost always exclusively falls asleep. It's just what he does. And so I don't have no beef with you falling asleep, but like if we're here and we're present, and this is the thing, and my number one thing is when we sit down and watch something, I don't want to fucking pause. Because you can't pause when you're in a theater.
Yeah.
Nope.
Now, if it's a movie we all have seen before, or most of us have seen, and you're the person that haven't seen it, yeah, go ahead, pause real quick. You know what I mean? But other than that, let it roll.
Nah, I don't like pausing either.
So, you know what I mean? So, I think
it takes you out of
it does take you out of it. I think movie theaters they were already having troubles and struggles. And I think this is an unfortunate one because I do enjoy going to the movie theaters. I do not like the price gouging, as I like to call it. But, hopefully they can figure this out because I don't want to live in an era where we don't have no movie theaters. You get what I'm saying?
Right. I can tell you, coming from that perspective, in Barbados, grew up, we had a drive-in.
Awesome.
And when I came here, I was like, let's go to the drive-in. My mother was like, driving? There's no drive-in.
By the time you got here,
I thought this was America. What the fuck?
Yeah, by the time you got here, they would, like in New York City, I think all of them were gone.
Yo, drive-ins is so dope, fam.
They are.
So dope.
Yeah. I really would love to know. I know in old school drive-ins, they gave you a little speaker box.
Yeah, that you put on a window.
But I couldn't tell you. I feel like
That wouldn't happen today. I can tell you what happens today.
Bluetooth it up or something.
It's your radio station. You go to like 87.3 or 90 something.
Right.
Something.
Yeah.
There's ways around that.
Yeah.
And that would adhere to the social distancing thing too, right? So that'd be super dope.
They've done a few comedy shows like that.
Oh, that's not bad.
And some places, like New Hampshire, still has a drive-in theater, but some places made some makeshift ones. So it's hard to do it in a city like ours because we ain't
got the space, man.
We ain't got the space.
Yeah. It would still have to be some sort of indoor structure, as for sound purposes. However, it has to be well ventilated. It's just a whole lot that would go into, being in a movie theater, drive-in movie theater. But
yeah,
I don't know.
So let's change the gears on some of that. So Hulu will be streaming some IMAX documentaries. So there's a situation where this is probably a good test case, right? Huge screen to the small screen, if you want to say.
Right.
How do you feel that this will impact the other side of it?
Nope.
You don't think people out here watching documentaries?
No. First, I mean, you were watching documentaries, but a documentary and IMAX streamed on Hulu for your home. First of all, there's no quantifiable way to display an IMAX level anything on your home screen unless your home screen is bigger than 100 inches. There's no quantifiable way. All right. IMAX screens are curved. They're curved for a reason. It has something to do with how the screen, how the projector is versus the tuning versus pixels per square. It's a whole lot that goes into the fact that the screen itself is curved. Second of all, it's just like now IMAX is not just visual, it's audio.
Right.
So now you would have to cater to only those that have IMAX level sound systems for a documentary. Fuck out of here with that shit.
So let me ask you.
I see it a different way, but go ahead, Reza.
Is IMAX even still relevant? Because
it's
I lean toward these new TVs look way better than anything we can see in IMAX. I think IMAX is an amazing looking old ass way of watching shit.
You know what? IMAX for a TV.
No, forget about it. No,
right.
Forget about IMAX for TV.
Right. No,
IMAX versus the newer TV technologies.
Okay, so IMAX for a theater, and you have to partition them. IMAX for a theater is equivalent to a Samsung UHD 8 series TV.
Right.
All right.
Which are wildly affordable.
Let's say the newest. You can't compare it to. In fact, I'll go one even further, and pull back the Samsung. IMAX for theater is equivalent to the best Panasonic plasma for your home.
The Kira.
Yeah. So at
the end of the day, the experience is better at home.
The experience is better at home with, let's say, if you were able to get a TV, a plasma TV, and it was to that level, you tuned it the same. It's more than just setting up a television and tuning a sound system. Now it's your ambient sound. It's how that room is set up. It is so IMAX is exactly how we say exactly how the producers want their movies to be shown. That's IMAX,
right.
And it's very difficult, short of getting a professional in to fine tune everything for your home. It's very difficult to get that level. You know what I'm saying? It just is. Like, I never fully my surround sound when it was in my bedroom, it never fully reached the potential that it could have reached, like an IMAX and IMAX theater system.
Mm-hmm.
Like I tinkered with my I was off, and I tinkered with my shit all day long just to get it. Like, you're talking raising the center, getting the center channel right, cool. The side surround speakers, getting those properly right, getting the rear speakers properly right. Now I have the Atmos speakers, getting that properly right, getting them angled right. It's so much that goes into that. And even when you think your TV is about as close as it's going to get to a theater level TV, you got the lights dim, everything is one off sound, and if you can catch it, one off sound ruins the entire experience. So it's like, yeah, you can enjoy being at home watching whatever. It can be the brand newness. They start piping everything to your crib, or it could be something old like Dark Knight Rises.
Saving Private Ryan.
You know, Saving Private Ryan. Saving Private Ryan audibly is remarkable.
I'm going with the Fifth Element.
Fifth Element, they just didn't get it. The Fifth Element remastered is probably really, really good, but technology just wasn't at its point like it is now to really experience it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so let me pull back on something real quick, what you were saying. I think there's those automatic IMAX goers. You guys spend your $40 every time you go.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. As far as your room, the problem is you put surround sound in your room, because the room doesn't give it enough chance for the sounds to travel and bounce the way that they need to bounce. There's just unless you have one of these Queen Victoria homes where your room is like the size of most people's living rooms.
No, that's what I had.
You can tune
that's what
for
I had.
that. The speakers.
Yeah, you can tune for that.
The system comes with the mic that controls the reverb in the room.
Right.
And with all that said, remember, we're talking about documentaries here. And most of these documentaries that I saw on that list is really geared towards children, right? Because until this thing happened, I didn't know IMAX was showing documentaries.
But
I had to go do homework on that to figure out what was the purpose of them doing documentaries. For the most part, I didn't know documentaries were showing in theaters, period, right? Unless it's something like, that did its thing in the independent film and then it got upgraded, So I am of the mind that, similar to Ramon, my TV downstairs would murder, in a good way, all these documentaries that's being shown. That's a 4K TV that was inexpensive. Shout out to TCL. You will forever have favor in my goddamn heart.
Yo,
right?
I walked past one, just sidebar. I walked past one in a fucking, not the Best Buy, the BJ, son.
Yeah, son. We could have a conversation about them another time.
Whole nother conversation. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So like, this stuff is geared towards children. I mean, China, the Panda Adventure, The Secret of Life on Earth, Superpower Dogs, Destiny in Space. Kids do not have a concept of the taste that you were just displaying.
Mm-hmm.
All they see is a picture, and all they hear is sound.
And
as long as they can see it,
as
long as they can see it, as long as they can hear it, this is going to be a good thing. Like me, I am a sound hound to a certain extent. I have been able to train my ears to be like, all right, this is good enough. I can get in. I can go. What I don't like is mistimed sounds. You know what I mean? So like, something that's delayed, or a rumble was supposed to happen and that misses, and I know it's supposed to be there, or I catch the tail end of that rumble. That's the stuff that'd be like, okay, that's taking me out. I don't care if I'm listening to something that's clipping, as long as there ain't no, as long as there's none of that, And for documentaries, I really do think almost every home that can show a Hulu product or Roku product or Netflix, whatever, is more than adequate for the target demo of this. Again, I didn't even know that iMax showed documentaries. That thing, that headline alone was blowing my mind. I was like, wait, hold up. Y'all do what? I've been to IMAX theaters. I don't see that stuff, or I don't recall seeing it. Maybe because I'm too busy looking for stuff that I think would actually be there, like something action, something kid friendly that's high impact. You know what I mean? So I think that it would really work. I think this would really work. And anytime I still watch documentaries. I don't think there's anything on this list that I would watch per se, based on what the names. There's some names out there that's ambiguous, but like in general, I still watch documentaries to this day. And for the most part, I watch them on my screen, and not even my first screen. My first screen is still the beast, even though it's like 12 years old. I watch it on my second screen. That's a mediocre screen. And when YouTube kicks in or Netflix kicks in on it, I mean, I'm locked in. So the home personal consumer, that can deal with it on any level. They'll deal with it in tablet. Like I can't. There's people who watch Netflix and Hulu on their phones. I refuse. And it's not a shot against them. It's like when I see stuff like that, I need to be comfortable. I don't want to be holding anything in my hand, and if I gotta put it on a table perched, I'd rather get a stand than I'd rather have a tablet. And then once I get to the tablet, I'm like, man, I might as well put this on my TV. So have I watched stuff on my phone? Absolutely. Have I watched stuff on a tablet? Absolutely. But anytime that I can bump it up to the next level, which ultimately means the TV, that's what I'm gonna do. Now my Sony TV that's in my room still has a great picture. It's probably just as old as the Riz's plasma, and that's probably where I consume most of my media at when I'm in the room. Very rarely am I in the living room consuming multiple forms of media. And if it does, I would say the most thing I've done in the living room is when I decide to leave my room and I want to transfer it downstairs from YouTube, because that's the easiest thing to transfer downstairs. So I think this is good. I think that the other places will want to see statistics on this, and I think this could be something that develops into something later. Again, I didn't know that iMax showed documentaries, and so
just to wrap this up, because I really want to get to the next topic. I really do.
I got you. It's coming.
I think it may just be iMax. The quality level. When one says iMax, you know what type of quality you're getting, and like to Riz's point, your home theater can be whatever it is. You can experience levels of quality that you might not see in a theater, but the term iMax it's like
it's the upper echelon.
iMax, Adobe, not Adobe, it's
iMax at the top.
Dolby Digital.
Dolby Digital, Dolby
Level 2.
It's a very
THX.
It's at THX. They all fall under Dolby, but THX, I don't know, whatever. I'm not getting into all of that, but they all kind of fall in a bit of secession when you start saying those. So now, when you say, all right, this iMax is showing this documentary, it's probably geared more towards the visuals that you would see in, say, I don't know, our solar system. Let's say if there's a documentary on our solar system, the visuals that you are going to see look that much better because iMax is behind it. You know what I'm saying? And if that is the case, then I'm on board. But if it's from a sound and clarity standpoint, you could keep it. You could keep it. You know
at the end of the day, it's about whatever you can pull into the crib. So let's get into this next thing that I think everyone wants in their crib. The PlayStation 5 decided to have their conference to show the future of gaming. And Riz, have you seen it? I know Tawann seen it because he's giddy, and he's normally not this giddy when it comes to Sony and their products in the gaming division.
Fuck Sony, but wait.
I said in the gaming division, yeah, but wait. So being that you were so eager to get into this, Tawann, you can have the floor.
All right. So since I consider myself the novice when it comes to gaming, even though I've been gaming probably longer than anyone on the podcast.
This is true.
But I haven't been. I'm not entrenched into gaming like these gentlemen are. I'll start off with the games. I'll start off in reverse, since basically the entire the showing, the conference, the press conference was basically in the same premise. They showed games first, and then they went to the actual console and the peripherals for the console. So I have a list here, and what I'm going to do into to
made a list.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So to be time conscious, I'm just going to roll off through these games. I'm going to mention games that I really, really want to play, and game and what games that are saying, hey, no, you need to buy that PlayStation.
All right, so let's do this. When you roll off your games,
right,
I'll let RZA roll off his, and then we'll come back to speak about the device in hand.
Okay. So these are my three games that say why I need a PlayStation 5.
Okay.
Ghostwire Tokyo. Deathloop. And Oddworld. So me and Ramon, me and Snow were talking before Ramon had got on, and we were talking about just briefly what we can about without spoiling too much. Oddworld is one of my favorite PS games.
Is that an exclusive?
Yes. You know what? I'm not going to say 100%. Because I remember playing it on.
Well, everybody knows it from PlayStation 1.
Yeah, it's a play.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we see.
So it goes synonymous.
It was never anywhere else.
It's like Final Fantasy, unless depending on when you started playing. We all know it from Nintendo, but depending on when you started playing, it's a PlayStation thing.
Yeah.
Right. So, Oddworld, just a fun game. It was fun back then, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, this is everything I remember, everything I want to play, because this is me saying I miss Oddworld, Abe's Oddity from then. I need it now.
As soon as I saw him on that screen and they got like a couple seconds in, I had a Roger Murdoch comment like, I'm too old for this shit.
Yeah.
He's always got to save the world.
For sure. So Ghostwire, just because it was really, it was just dope. It was just a dope. Like, I can't really go because I don't know enough about the game to dig into Ghostwire Tokyo, but
I will say this. I will give you something to look into though, right? So the Ghostwire premise is actually something like a folklore or something that they believe out there.
Right.
So when you go read it into that, it's gonna make you appreciate the possibilities of this game even further.
Nice. And which sold it for me, because I'm looking and I'm like, wait, what? What the fuck was that? But and then Deathloop, man, Deathloop was like it was like a combination of, first of all, it's first person. It's technically a shooter, but it's a little more than just shooting.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild.
Mm-hmm.
And if there is a multiplayer for this, they just showed like sort of campaign. You know what it puts me in a mind of? Max Payne. And it gives me that Max Payne feel.
Mm-hmm.
But
there's
more
a game
first
there's a
person.
game you're missing, and I'm hesitant. Do I even turn you on to that? Because I don't want to lower the or double the excitement depending on how it goes. But like I there's another game out there that you can get a demo. That you can get a demo of what you're going to play.
Okay. So, and you know what I mean. For me, I'm big on first person. It's ironic, and I'm big on first person. It's very Halo-ish as well. Mm-hmm. There are some elements of Halo into it. It's like a combination of several games mashed into one. Mm-hmm. And for me,
this one game that you've not seen, bro. Woo!
Shit. So,
I'm trying to figure out whether I tell you or not. But go ahead, continue.
Keep it low. But right. So Deathloop for me, those 3 games is why I would pick up a PlayStation. Mm-hmm. So the PlayStation 5, to be perfectly honest, along with a lot of just what they did with other features and like we could talk about that later, but games first. So next up, go ahead.
RZA, what about you?
I don't know. I don't resonate with any fucking Sony games really. I saw Gran Turismo and I was like, all right, cool. That was about it for me.
That was about it for you? That's all it took? Gran Turismo?
Yeah, I mean, even Deathloop looks like... I'm looking at the trailer for Deathloop. I've seen this plenty of times. These games with these complex systems and this sort of sandbox where you can do any and everything. The developers really do an amazing job of setting it up. To make it look cool, but then you play it and you're like,
the gameplay.
But then you go back and you watch YouTube footage of diehards who commit to it, and you're like, it is what they said it was. But when I play, I never get any of that, and that could be just me. I'm just not that imaginative of a gamer, so a lot of those type of games don't resonate with me. I just see them as like, I guess whatever.
Same thing like with Metal Gear, right?
Yeah. And Metal Gear.
People did some wild stuff in Metal Gear 5.
Yeah, Metal Gear. But the story of Metal Gear was strong as fuck.
Right.
You know, so I didn't mind Metal Gear, but I didn't see too much that really pulled me. In fact, what I will say is I was in a very different space when Sony did that announcement. And it kind of wasn't fair to Sony. Like, I was seeing shit I'm not sure I should have been seeing. So we were like 10 minutes in the conference and you saw 2 black dudes and we're in the middle of the George Floyd shit. And I was like, oh shit, black people. Nice. Good job, Sony. And the game they introduced was all white characters. And I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
All right. And then right after it, there was a game came up, some cartoonish shit with horses and whatnot. And one of the horses had long curly hair. I was like, oh, here's your black character, a fucking horse. Right? And then like right after that, here comes Abe's Odyssey with the slave shit. I'm just like, fam, I'm hot right now. You know what I mean? Like I noticed, like I was just reading way too much into shit and I didn't enjoy it like I wanted to. But I went back and looked at a few of the trailers on the side, and none of the games, and I will always say this, Sony games don't really resonate with me. And I'm not saying these games aren't dope as fuck. It's just, I'm just not that type. I'm forever going to be a Gran Turismo, Forza motherfucking Halo. That's all I got for you. So Uncharted is dope. So I don't think I have I'm not saying there wasn't dope shit there. I didn't see anything that really
that resonate for you.
Yeah.
Right.
That's fair. And I guess it's my go.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm gonna start with the Deathloop thing because that was the hottest thing you spoke about. And Ramon, there go your two black characters right there in Deathloop, right? The villain and the hero, were both black.
Yep.
Yeah.
What I saw,
And somebody's name was Black something. That also pissed me off. So we got black characters and somebody's name got to be black, like, but yeah.
So I saw the gameplay and I'm like, oh, this game looks, the style of this game looks like from a developer I know. And then I saw some of the hype that they were showing, the mechanics. I'm like, oh, that looks very familiar. And then I was like, oh, did I miss the part where this is from Arcane Studios? So I was just like, oh, I know what this is because I've already played 2.5 versions of their other games. So I'm like, this is basically a more relaxed, more arcade version with a different type of story that I could get into. Yes, because not my issue with the other games that they made, my the hurdle that I had with the other game is that it gets too much into that time period and I get pulled out of it, so I have to struggle to get back into it. And that has nothing to do with what they did. They did what they're supposed to do. That is something that's on me. I still buy the games. I have all 2.5 versions of those games, and I will be getting this Deathloop game because this is something different, but using the same mechanics. Right. And I'm happy to say, RZA, that based on what I've played before, especially from the first game of the series that I'm trying to avoid saying for Tawann, that they delivered on the mechanics that they displayed, which is why it took me forever to get through the first game. And I don't think I actually got through it all the way because I was too busy going back. I'm like, oh, I can get into this rat and bypass this whole thing and not fight no one. Okay, cool. I can possess this human and get the keys from this person. And then, like, it was just so much possibilities to one point where I was only like maybe 25% of the game and I felt like a god in the game. You know, where a lot of games like Prototype, it takes forever before you start feeling like the prototype. You get what I'm saying?
And the game's over when you finally feel powerful.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, so if I'm taking my previous experience with those games and I'm going to assimilate it to the potential of what I'm seeing here with Deathloop, I am with it. And the premise is dope. And to be honest with you, that was really my most high point of the whole thing. Now, of course, the Miles Morales Spider-Man, because I played the OG Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. The OG Spider-Man is fire. Of course, I want more Spider-Man, and this is going to be with Miles Morales. I'm down. And basically, this is like, because I know it's been a little confusing. Is this a new Spider-Man game? What is it? It's actually a standalone DLC of the game. And for some people, that means if you own Spider-Man and you make the purchase of the additional DLC, you will probably access it through that game. If you don't own Spider-Man and don't care to own Spider-Man, but you want to jump on Miles Morales Spider-Man, you can purchase the reduced price version of this, and it's just going to be just that Spider-Man game without the other version of it. The last successful thing that I've seen of this is probably like Uncharted 4. They have the Lost something. I forget what it was called, but like they had a standalone version where it was just the two women that was in Uncharted 4. They went out, Nadine and I forget the other chick name. They went to go do their own thing and they had their own adventure. So it's the same mechanics of the game with a few twists, but it has its own story. And if you're invested into the Marvel world or Spider-Man, and if you've seen Into the Spider-Verse, you're gonna want to play the game.
Yeah.
The other thing I was happy to see was the new Horizon Forbidden West, which many of us are calling Horizon Zero Dawn 2. And I enjoyed the first one. Mad my hard drive died. I know we had that conversation offline, me and Tawann. Mm-hmm. and it was a game that I wasn't looking forward to originally, and then I just took the plunge and bought it, and ended up being one of my favorite games. So I'm happy to see that this will be one of the launch games, and I would say Ratchet and Clank is cool. I'll end up playing that because I will play those type of titles.
Yeah.
I am a Sackboy fan. Am I going to be on it out the gate? Nope, but I'm happy to see it there. And because of GT Sport, I can say that, okay, I'll be open armed, not purchase out the gate, but I'll be open armed to GT7. And outside of that, I'm not really sure if anything else really. I mean, the Ghostwire thing is dope. I have other thoughts on that. GTA 5 coming over to the PS5 is kind of a little insulting, but whatever. My Hitman days are slowly going behind me, so I'm happy to see it there. That means it's doing well.
Right.
But other than that, let's just get to the console.
All right, so, whoa. Before we go there, I just want to close out because you cheated. I just say my name, my top 3 of why I would buy. So now there was the bullshit on here that I was like, wait, what the fuck? So the Far Shore, what the fuck?
The what?
The Far Shore.
Nah, don't worry about it.
What the fuck? There was another, like, there were games that I just didn't even mention on this list that I'm like, no, hell to the no. Like this, it was typical PlayStation shit. Like they put some shit together and mashed it together, and here we're gonna, because Xbox ain't fucking with that. But there's a PlayStation show for today, so we're gonna go with the PlayStation. What?
You must be talking about some indie stuff.
The Village. I'm like, okay, it was weird, but okay.
Resident Evil Village.
Yes.
Yeah.
GTA 5. I was like, why? What? So now they're in bed with PlayStation. So now GTA is exclusive to PS5.
My fam, I can assure you that they will show up on the X Series X. I can guarantee you it's going to show up over there.
Likely.
The money they're making off GTA 5 is ridiculous. It will show up over there.
Village Pragmata was really just freaky. Like I'm like, what the fuck?
But you don't like Silent Hill, Parasite Eve type games?
Yeah, no, sorry. The Stray was also weird. I'm trying to wrap my brain around it. Humans are dead, robots took over, and cats survived the apocalypse or what have you.
Son, cats and cockroaches is the only thing that's going to survive this.
Pretty fucking much. Shackboy, I really want to play it. It's something about it that makes me want to play Shackboy and Ratchet and Clank. It's one of those games. Those are games that for me that are I'm not doing anything else. There's nothing any pressing. I don't want to shoot somebody in the face, so I'll play those games. That much like what's the last game that you had recommended to me that I didn't realize came out? Streets of Rage. Right. So those are in par for me. Godfall is fucking dope. That was my honorable mention. Godfall. Godfall is the shit. And Spider-Man I would probably play only because I've been playing Spider-Man since the 360. So shit, maybe before then.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I think this is the other conversation I had with you before offline, like a while ago. Fam, you need to get over to Ramon and load up the goddamn PlayStation on his fucking the Spider-Man, son. That shit is it's probably the best Spider-Man out ever.
Yeah, the Spider-Man was really good.
Yeah. The only problem I have with Spider-Man is some of the cut points where not cut scene but cut points when you've beaten the bosses or the boss or you've beaten the whatever. Like if you had to, I don't know,
when you finish a mission,
right?
Right.
Those cut scenes became very repetitious, and I'm like, really, like don't do that.
Oh,
do
you
something
talking about
else.
The side stuff? You talking about the side stuff? Yeah.
It's like, you
can't penalize the game for the side stuff.
Fuck out of here. Say something else. You know, like that's the only problem for me. That why I kind of sort of stopped playing Spider-Mans, but.
Then play the missions.
Spider-Man.
Stop doing the side stuff.
Yeah, I played the missions too, and it was kind of sort of repetitious too. So I'm like, you know,
I mean, I see your point, and I think you are correct, but it's an open world game.
Yeah,
that's just the law of the land.
It is.
That's kind of why I can't bring myself to play GTA 5 as much as I want to play it, because I know I'm gonna get drowned out in that fucking side mission shit and be like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, because you can't, like, that's why I stopped playing Red Dead Redemption.
Fucking cowboy simulator.
It's fucking wild. So, yeah, but that's pretty much, that wraps up the games, the titles. So, where we at, 130 in?
I'm actually kind of happy to hear you say Ratchet and Clank and Sackboy from the Little Big Planet universe. That's actually shocking. That's what's up.
Yeah. It's definitely. What was
I will
that
say
game?
this. I will say this though. And Ramon probably hasn't tried it yet, but Ratchet and Clank had a movie, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It was.
So they have a video game that goes with that movie. That video game is amazing. So you got time.
I'll fuck with it. I'll rock out to it. Maybe if I well, I don't have a PS in my home now, but. If I can get a hold to it and it's backwards compatible, I rock with it. Excuse me. So, now,
let's get to this console. What's up?
This fucking console. Ramon, I want to hear you tear ass into this.
Yo,
I want to hear you. I want to hear you tear ass into. Listen,
I'm always gonna say. I don't give a fuck what the console looks like.
Yeah.
That's the stance always.
That's always my stance. However, if I have to have an opinion on it, I think it's fucking ugly. I think it's ugly, and I think the Xbox is boring. The Series X.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
What like to what ends? However, what I do think is hilarious is how the internet does what they do, and they sort of figured out the scale of the PS5, and they're like, this shit is huge. Because Microsoft lost alone because, it's huge. And then here comes Sony.
It's a big VCR.
It's bigger. So it's just, there's so much of these little things that's pushing me away from this gaming fucking shit. It's annoying to me. But I think it's ugly. But I saw some mock-ups of an all-black version. Was like,
looks a little better.
Mm-hmm. So very much like the 6s, because most 6s are trash, but you get 1 or 2 colors.
Whoa, hold up! But that's not what I heard. That's not what was explained to me with them pinnacles.
So the pinnacles are the pinnacle, man. Like, what else can I say, son?
What? Hold up! But you said the pinnacles are fire. They're dope.
The pinnacles
and
are dope.
That is all. And they're 6s.
Son. That is all. I succumb.
Holy shit.
No, I think the console's fucking fine.
It is. But we gotta get these jokes off, yo.
The jokes are funny. I don't find the jokes funny when they're doing it to Microsoft, and I didn't find it funny when they doing it to Sony.
I already got a router.
It is that.
That was the first. That was the first thing. I remember when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, here we go." I looked right to my router. I was like, "Here we go."
Son,
that was the most obvious.
I'm like, "Yo, what the fuck? What do they do?" It's a big ass. Like, if I can power my internet service and play a game at the same time, yeah, this would make sense.
So the one thing that triggered me about it, is there's an all digital version of it. That annoys the fuck out of me. I feel like Sony doesn't get to do that.
Yeah, no, not when
Like,
Xbox got killed for it.
Sony don't get to do that. And
did they get killed for it?
yes, they did. Yes, they did.
They got
yes,
killed
they did.
Physical.
I think
they was like physical.
I know people said something about it. I don't know about they got killed for it.
They got killed for it because they was like, why when all you have to do is give the CD to the next person.
That was it. Here's how we share games on the PlayStation. That whole shit.
CD. Oh no. Tell me. That no. You guys are stretching that. No, we're talking about a digital only console.
Yeah.
Versus a digital and a disc option.
How do you share games on a digital?
Hold on. Exactly what you're talking about. What you're talking about wasn't because Xbox released a digital only commercial. I mean a digital only console. That didn't happen until later. Y'all playing with the semantics.
No. The point
they did get killed. They did get killed for that. That I remember. I thought you was talking about when they released the Xbox One digital only.
No.
That's what I thought you were talking about.
The concept of sharing those games meant that Microsoft would have been able to pull out an all digital version 5 years earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The concept of sharing those games meant that it brought gaming as a medium, as an entertainment, into the 21st fucking century.
Mm-hmm.
And this is now what Sony has to deal with on the digital version of that PlayStation 5. You don't get to do that. Not after.
Yeah.
Because
I still think it's a stretch.
Son, it's not a stretch. So when hang on.
Okay.
When I see an all digital PlayStation 5, I got questions. How does the submarine man play his video games now?
Yeah,
well, he couldn't play it. We had this argument already with the PS4 because there is no DE PS4. How does the submarine man play his PS4?
He can't.
Without checking in,
he can't.
He can't play Destiny.
That's my point.
He can play some of his digital games if it's his home console. If it's his home console, he can play it, but he can't play certain games.
No, he can't at all. He doesn't have internet. He can't even get the games on the fucking thing.
If you have the home console, you can get the games on and you can play. That's what I'm talking about. So if my PlayStation 4 in my crib, right? If I automatically lose internet, if my console is known as the home console, I can still play those games.
Yeah.
Even if I can't connect to the internet.
Yeah.
So that's good there. The issue was, how do you let your friends hold the game?
Yeah.
That part I stand behind. I thought that was I thought that would have been putting us forward. Now, until PS5 says, "Oh, by the way, those of you who wants to share your games and you got the digital only version, you can do this, insert what Xbox was trying to do with the Xbox One. Then come out with the fire and I'll be with you."
But how do they share games now? How do you see them sharing games?
The same way everybody else share games. They don't.
Right.
We got to see those statistics, but on both ends.
That's it, right?
On both ends.
So when we say Microsoft got killed, you're right. It's not the same thing, but it's leading to the same end result.
And when we get there, then we have that fight. Then we go after them. Then we go after them because they're not there yet. I am waiting because they still not giving us any details.
Yeah.
I am waiting to figure out a few things with this digital only version. One, how much less is it from the disc version? Two, how are people going to share their games? Because when's the last game I shared?
Yeah.
What is, like, you tell me
I don't have any physical game on my PlayStation 4 or Xbox.
You tell me a lot of things, Rizza, and I think sometimes you think I'd be challenging you just for the challenge. I understand that it's your use case scenario, so therefore I don't contend to it because you may not be a minority on that, right? It could be equal, it could be 60-40, even if it's 51-49. It doesn't matter because there are people out there like you and there are people out there like me. But I will say this. What is the last game you lent out to someone in this generation?
Never.
Grand Theft Auto 4.
Not once have I lent out a game on this generation. So, I don't have a game to lend out.
Because it's digital.
Yep.
So I am eager to see. Now, you knew that ahead of time. I knew that ahead of time. I was on board. Don't forget that part. I was on board with what the Xbox was trying to do.
No, I'm not. I'm not excluding you from this.
I just want.
I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm not including you.
The listeners do not know.
Right.
The listeners may not know.
Okay.
So I am ready for them to say some real stupid shit that the Xbox got killed for. I am ready because this is what the console is looking like right now. It's looking like it's going in that range.
Yes.
So until it does, I still want to be fair about a digital only version because the Xbox has one too.
And we said this years ago. And I also said this in the thick of it. Watch Sony come.
You did say that.
And do the exact same fucking thing. That was what really annoyed me. And now here we are. I'm annoyed.
Well, listen, all I know is I think I will end up buying the Xbox PlayStation or the PlayStation Xbox because that's what it is. And my next question is, my next question is, why didn't it make sense then?
Because they outed Microsoft. That's why it made sense.
It was a bashing
It's not that it
contest.
didn't make sense. So we're talking, first of all, take nothing away from
just would have been
Sony.
ahead.
Son, Sony is Sony. Sony is very cutting edge at what they do.
Right.
You will never hear me say anything but. The reason, to your point, it wasn't important then, or it wasn't right then, is because Microsoft got backlash on it. So it was a way for them to capitalize. And it worked. Son, I'll tell you, Sony would have won this generation no matter what because they was hitting heavy with exclusives.
Right.
But I don't think it would have been the landslide that it is today had they not capitalized on what we're talking about up front.
I think it would have been 5-1. I forget what the number is recently, but it would have been 5-1 at the end of the cycle.
So it would have been a lot closer. Son, they and by the way, they did what they were supposed to do because Microsoft wasn't, according to some of the industry, wasn't clear on their messaging. I think that's horseshit because if we go back and watch that TV shit, all of it makes perfect sense. In fact,
but where's
a ton of the features that they were touting that they since taken away are things I would have loved to have today because my Xbox is in my living room as an entertainment device.
Right. And mine always was an entertainment device as well. But where's PlayStation's clarity with this system now? Like
it's still a cat and mouse. It's still a cat and mouse because the Xbox released their stuff and they've not said anything, and so has the PlayStation.
And I feel like Microsoft is doing that on purpose because they ain't trying to get their head beaten again.
Right? Because here's what happened:
they're playing poker
with the price too. The price is where Microsoft is like, we can afford to take an L no matter how you slice it.
Right.
And I think that's where it gets dangerous for Sony.
Right. And also, I look at the console, obviously, I'm a PlayStation fan, whatever, but like, I'm not stupid, right?
Rumorville said $5.99. That's all I'm saying.
Nah, it's not going to be $5.99.
I'm
going to tell you that right now.
Eh?
This version is going to be $5, and they're going to take an L with the DE. For $4, right? And what I mean by L, meaning it's not the DE version. The console's supposed to be $400. So they're gonna try to price people out and get everybody to force feed everybody into the digital only version, and that's gonna be weird as fuck. So
it's gonna be fucked for them. Because if you have more and more people saying, nah, fuck these CDs. Fuck this physical media. I'll take the digital and just buy a shit ton of hard drive space, and that's it.
Well, you got to understand something there. When you become the ISP or the DSP, you make more money.
Right.
So what's happening with all these digital sales that's going on both platforms or on every platform is you are the store. Your studio isn't sending games to Best Buy, Amazon, this, that, and the third, and they getting that cut. Right. We're still paying $60 for a game that doesn't come with a book, a manual, a case.
No fucking supply chain distribution, none of that.
There's none of that, right? So where's that money going to? Who's it going to? It makes sense for companies to go digital.
And for Sony, I think Sony should, hot take, Sony should be charging $70 for games because these motherfuckers can't seem to not kill their developers, like their studios. Yeah. Let these studios get that money. They need that money because I don't know what the fuck's going on over there.
You know for a fact that I believe video games should be $70 out the gate.
Straight up.
They should be $70. This is the only medium, and I know some of y'all are hearing this and y'all not used to our conversations. This is the only form of entertainment that's not seen a price hike in well over 15, 20 years.
And the value per entertainment ratio is astronomical with these games.
Yeah. I mean, look what's at the top. The coronavirus happens, and guess what happens? You get F1 racing now from a video game. Your professional drivers, NASCAR drivers, all this. You got esports that are now being highly featured. They sell out arenas before time. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, I know that people are not gonna find that and like that, but I remember a time we were paying $85 for Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo, and that shit was not worth nobody's $85. And in some cases, somebody spent $125. That's why they regulated it down to $50, and then we only saw a $10 increase, which is $60, once, and it's never gone up since. That's why we get hit with all this. Like, I look at The Last of Us. I just bought The Last of Us Part 2. Or you could look at any Sony, any EA game. There's a $60 version, there's a $70 version, and then there's another version. The $70 version does not need to exist. Because if you just play the game, you get what the $70 version is giving you.
Yep. That's the Battlefield effect.
You know what I'm saying? I would say more Star Wars. But like...
yeah, them too.
Protect Battlefield. But yeah, the PlayStation bringing it back down. I have so many more questions than answers. The look of it, I personally have had my experience with a light gray, ash gray, a white console before. I do not like that, especially over time. And that's the same thing with sneakers I have with white brims. Like, over time, you just can't protect that. Like, I there's been Apple products that I've had that as soon as I got it, you know what went on it. Cover it up. And these are products that never left the house.
You had Apple products?
I had an iPod and an iPod Touch.
Oh, okay.
iPod Touch was a gift for someone that I was with.
Mental note.
I ended up using it more than they
Apple
did.
Apple products.
So I will never take power away from the iPods. Never, ever. But with that said, I would not buy a white phone. I don't buy white speakers. I don't have white monitors. I don't have a white keyboard. Most of my electronics have some kind of color on it. If not, if anything, black. Imagine having a white remote controller. I have a white Xbox One controller that I've yet to open for the same reason that we're talking about. And I got it for the low, which is why I bought it. I got it for the low. So I was like, $45 to $50 or $30, $35. I think the choice was obvious there. And yet I still haven't opened it. So for me, I don't have a problem with the way it looks. I have a problem with the colors. Because even though I am going to tuck it, son, dust still happens wherever you tucking it at.
Yeah.
And that's my beef with it. It don't have to be black. I just don't want it. It could be reverse colors. It's just that the white is so visible that it's going to be the most susceptible to whatever's going on. And when you scratch that with something black or whatever, because everything else is up here is black, like that's a scuff. It's like a car. Like if someone sideswipe you in a white car, son, that's visible.
Yeah. So let me bring up a technical scenario that I have questions on that I sort of pondered a little bit ago. Mm-hmm. From everything we've seen of these two consoles, I think the Xbox will be the more powerful.
No, I think we've got that down pat that it will be powerful.
But I think Sony won't be far behind because they chose optimization methods that make sense for them. And we're talking all about the We're talking all about the hard drive stuff. So what's interesting now is Snow's complaint on these hard drives are too fucking small on the current gen consoles means everybody's got a USB hard drive with 2 terabytes or whatever the fuck plugged into your console, right?
Yep.
What I'm seeing from Sony is how much hard work they put in to optimizing the storage media and essentially using it as an extension of RAM, right? Remember I used to talk about this where you can plug in USB into Windows and extend your RAM.
Yeah.
Right.
Remember I was saying that's something that needs to be done on these consoles?
Yep.
Here it is, right? However, what gets even more interesting now is if it's an all digital version, fam, they ain't got enough space on that. I don't care what you say.
Well,
we're gonna get to a point where you gonna do that juggle game.
Yeah.
So now you need to extend your storage via USB. How is Sony tackling that advantage of making the hardware, making the storage into hardware power when it comes to USB? Because I don't think they can. USB as a bus just doesn't support that type of throughput.
Right. So here's something I just want to remind you about. It's an issue right now.
Yeah.
Right? It's that the problem with the hard drive storage is an issue right now, regardless if you have a digital version or you buy a disc. Because no matter what, here's the reason. One of the reasons why I don't buy discs, because I'm not a collector either in terms of physical, with editions and all that stuff. Son, if you buy a hard copy game right now and you put it in your system of choice right now,
Still
Xbox
installs.
or PlayStation, it's going to install and then pull the rest from the cloud.
Yeah.
Right? So why buy a disc?
Right.
So already this is a problem. And we came into this generation with that problem because we left the last generation as it becoming a problem, which is why in our video where we was trying to predict the name and what the features were, we saying that 500 gigabytes is not going to be enough.
Yep.
At best, you better start at a terabyte. And today, son, a terabyte is still an issue.
Yeah.
Because if I was to pull up my PlayStation right now, which I have 2 terabytes installed internally, and then I got another 4 outside of it, right? I have COD, which is over 150. I have Battlefield 5, which is over 150. I have 2 single player games that are about 75 to 100. I have Red Dead Redemption, that's over 100. Son, I've not named too many games. At 10 games, you could be in trouble.
Yep.
At 10 games, you could be in trouble.
Not to mention the PlayStation, they give away those games. What is it called?
Oh, the PS Plus games.
Yeah, you get those games every month.
So it's like, how that is the greatest question. Like, how will they handle that? We know one way that Microsoft for the Xbox Series X is going to handle it, which is they're going to have their own memory cards. You get what I'm saying? Their own proprietary memory, if I'm not mistaken. Can you still use external? Absolutely. The PlayStation will allow you to use external. The trade-off on the PlayStation from using external versus the internal is you lose those load times, right?
Right.
So, my question is,
They may make you shift the game.
Right. So my thing with the PlayStation is I need to know what else is happening in the back of this PlayStation, because you put one USB-C in the front with the USB 3 in the front. That should have been 2 in the front. Because if you only got 1, that's an issue. There better be another 1, if not 2 of them in the back. Because whatever the storage is going to be, is probably going to need to use that particular connection.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To make it somewhat comparable. If we're going to be able to use NVMEs, which isn't up to the speed of what the PS5 is going to do, but it's going to be faster than my hard drives that I got right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the situation with that? Because I would gladly hoard some SSDs if the situation is correct. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
Right.
But and then hopefully, as a lot of things happen this way, that the price on the NVMEs come down.
They're not pricey.
Right, but when we start talking those 2 terabytes, we get into another pay grade. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Luckily for me, it's not a problem I'm gonna have with day one because I don't know if I'm getting a console day one. I almost want to wait for another iteration of it.
Yep. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what it comes down to, because Microsoft still have a very real problem. Even if the Series X is more powerful than the PlayStation 5, then we are where we are today, right? Because the Xbox One X is more powerful than the PlayStation 4 Pro. But still, the glaring difference is it's those games.
Right. I mean,
games.
Let's go back, right? The PS3 was supposedly stronger than the 360, and for a very long time it was, well, the 360 games just fucking work.
Yeah.
It was easier to make games for. That was the complaint, right? For PlayStation, it's easier to make games on that. Well, here we are with both easy technology to make stuff on. One just happens to be a little better than the other one. I think the difference is negligible, because what's going to come down to is this, right? Halo will always be the best way to play Halo on Xbox until they made it available for PC, right? PlayStation games will always be the best place to play on PlayStation because they don't make it for nothing else. So now the games that are cross-platform, if the things are very similar, it ain't gonna matter.
Yeah.
What it comes down to is, how can I fly through these menus? Does it got any kind of lag?
Yep.
Is it gonna stutter when certain things start happening? Are we gonna have a fan problem? Like, is this thing gonna overheat? Is my thing just gonna randomly turn on? Like, that's what it's gonna come down to, the actual functionality. It won't be an issue with It should not be an issue with graphical performance. It should be a mechanical thing.
I think we'll have to put a pin in that, because from what I've seen, some of the grumblings from the developers, there's like a consensus that because of the approach Sony had using that proprietary storage into the performance equation, it's a shift from what developers are used to doing, just raw power.
Right.
So you have the PC and the Xbox are more aligned with what they see, and they gotta familiarize themselves with how Sony's doing things now. So I've seen 1 or 2 reports where developers are like, of course, the article headline said difficult, because you got to get your clicks.
You got to get your clicks.
But it ain't difficult, but it's that means that it's an extra like 10% that you put into Sony, which is really nominal. What are you talking, like a month on a project? You know what I mean? Like,
you know who I see that an issue for? A studio that's only going to make one game on that platform.
Yeah, could be.
Because I feel like once you do it that first game,
you figure it out, right? So houses like EA, Activision, like, they'll be all right, and they got the resources to like figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, because I look at it like this: you want to struggle with storage, or you want to struggle with the CPU. Pick your poison. Because from my understanding, struggling with the CPU is way worse. And they did, and people still was able to clock out dope ass games on the PS3.
Yeah, that's what took the PS3 so long to hit that stride. So
well, it's interesting. There's still a lot more to be said and be done with both these consoles. I feel about 50-50-ish about how the console looks. I would love to see some color combos. I will say this is probably like the first PlayStation in a while where they gave themselves a surface to be themable. They've been themed before, but the themes haven't really been all that great. I think the Xbox, not the original, but at least the 360, man, oh man, did they have some dope ass themes? Not raps, themes. So, it looks like a space type design, and if that's a throwback to the original space station, PlayStation station, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's it. I mean, I can't wait to see what more information is going to be given about both these consoles. And I say we could wrap this up. Anything?
Yeah, for sure.
Anything else?
PlayStation for the win, y'all. PlayStation for the win. Not.
RZA?
No, I'm good.
All right, well, let's sign off, fellas. My name is Snow.
My name is Ramon.
And I am the unknown guy. Kick Scott guy.
Still working on it.
It's still working on it.
And we out of here.
Peace.